Chapter 10. I rove, therefore I am.
Mission log, Sol 5169. Pancam, sample detected. IDD, extending instrument deployment device. MI, beginning microscopic imaging. MI, error, undefined. MI, beginning microscopic imaging. MI, error, undefined. MI, beginning microscopic imaging. MI, imaging underway. Spectrographic analysis queued. APXS. Warning. Radioisotope source decaying. Additional processing time required. MB. Warning. Radioisotope source decayed. Instrument arm offline due to command override. MTES. Warning. Mirror obstruction detected. Instrument arm offline due to command override. Attempting to contact DSN. Connection not found. Attempting to contact MRO direct. Connection not found. Attempting to contact Earth direct. Connection not found. Logging science data for later upload. Pancam, reacquiring position.
The blue jay that had spent the last several minutes perched atop Opportunity's head while the rover had studied a rock trilled loudly as the movement beneath its feet interrupted its sunbathing. Opportunity followed the small bird with its camera as it retreated towards the fountain in the plaza, where others of its kind were cooling themselves down in the water. The rover snapped a picture of the frolicking avians, including the one currently giving it a stink eye, and added it to the growing backlog of things to send back home, if and when a connection could be established. It drove on, finding another interesting specimen to look at, a brown and white crumb of irregular shape.
AOS BSN. Message received. Source unknown.
Opportunity looked up to see a donkey giving it an annoyed look. "Do you mind? You're making them skittish." The donkey rustled around in a bag that was sitting next to him on the wooden park bench and threw a couple more crumbs out in front of him before looking towards a nearby tree. A couple of pigeons had taken refuge in its shade. Only one stirred at the movement, eyeing both the breadcrumbs and the donkey lazily, before giving an unenthused coo and burying its head beneath its wing. "Nah, bunch of ingrates," the donkey mumbled under his breath. The rover drove closer to the donkey, raising its instrument arm in greeting.
Hello,
It said.
Opportunity.
It added, indicating itself with an instrument arm. It had found those combined actions to be useful when encountering the residents of Ponyville, most of which tended to stare with wide eyes, and one particular group of 3 had even fainted. I know who you are," the donkey replied, looking the rover up and down far more calmly than most did in this situation. "Doodle," he replied shortly.
Doodle?
"Yes, Cranky Doodle, that's my name." Opportunity was silent for a moment, going through its logs to identify the species.
Cranky Doodle. Donkey?
The response came only in the form of a snort, not that Cranky wasn't used to this reaction when introducing himself. The instrument arm on the rover moved to indicate the breadcrumbs.
Experiment. Study.
Cranky looked around the plaza on the outskirts of Ponyville, which was deserted except for the 2 and the critters. That was hardly surprising, despite the warm summer day, given that it was the early afternoon on a Wednesday and most inhabitants of Ponyville were either at work or school. He gave all the surrounding birds a final indignant look before answering. Knock yourself out, I guess. Looks like they all got sick of me coming here every day and feeding them."
Thank you.
Opportunity made sure to add before extending its arm and resuming the study of the initial breadcrumb. Again, the only answer came in the form of a non-committal grunt. For a few minutes, the rover continued with its study.
Nice weather we're having.
Opportunity had long since reasoned that climate studies were almost as important to ponies as they were to its creators, seeing as that particular phrase almost inevitably seemed to creep up into any conversation it had ever observed. There was no immediate response, but when Opportunity turned back towards Cranky, it saw him sniffing the air.
For now. Rain coming later today.
Opportunity turned its main camera towards the sky. Comparing the latest pictures of the sky, the rover agreed.
Projected time until full cloud coverage, about 2 hours 30 minutes.
Predicting the weather here was far harder than it had been on Mars. Many times, the rover had been surprised by sporadic and unpredictable patterns. It didn't seem to make any sense, though the most anomalous readings always seemed to occur when Pegasus ponies were in the vicinity. Then again, the Sol 5111 dust storm on Mars had been entirely unpredictable as well.
Not bad,
Cranky said with some amusement creeping into his voice.
That's one of them Everfree storms blowing in. Most ponies are just lucky if funny and replied there was no rain on the weather schedule. How'd you know?
Experience,
Opportunity replied.
Outdoors a lot, huh?
The rover nodded its pan cam up and down.
Opportunity go many places last 15 years. Eagle Crater, Endurance Crater, Heat Shield Rock, Purgatory Dune, Erebus, Marathon Valley. Now here, keep going.
Cranky sighed and began staring off into the distance with a complicated expression.
I used to be like that, always on the move, up and down the country. I've been to many places in my time. Appaloosa, Crystal Mountains, the Badlands, the Riverlands. Going from Las Pegasus in the west to Manhattan in the east. I miss it.
Opportunity stopped in the process of analyzing another sample and looked at all the paths leading from the plaza.
Why no travel anymore?
It indicated a certain direction.
That one look interesting. Opportunity always directed to most interesting looking place. So now Opportunity try pick most interesting place to go to by self.
The donkey did a double take when he realized what lay in that direction.
The Everfree?
A smile tugged at his lips, and he actually looked amused for a moment.
I suppose that one's always an adventure, yeah. But nah, my traveling days are behind me. You see, I was looking for something. Someone. I found her. Even married her.
He went quiet again.
But Cranky say miss exploring.
The donkey nodded.
I do. But I'd miss my wife a lot more if I went away. I don't need to travel anymore. I found what I was looking for. And yet, I seem to have forgotten how to stay put. Don't know how to be retired. I come here every day. Even the birds have gotten sick of me. I just wonder.
He once again drifted back into silence.
What beyond that hill?
Cranky was startled, wondering if the strange robot was somehow a mind reader. Whenever he saw a feature he'd not been to, that was exactly what he asked himself. Opportunity looked at him while still pointing with its arm at the horizon.
What beyond that hill? Cranky been?
He chuckled, realizing that this wasn't the invasion of the mind-reading robots from outer space after all. Oppa had asked a far more practical question. Scratching his ear, he squinted into the distance.
Not much that way. Flattens out on the other side into rolling grasslands. The occasional herd of cows grazes there.
Opportunity nodded and pointed next at the stream that was gently flowing out of town.
What that way?
Oh, that takes a sharp bend into the Everfree for a bit, then it widens out and flows south. Perfect for making your way down towards Somnambula on a raft.
He He smiled fondly at an old memory.
I met my best friend on that river.
Opportunity like to see. Opportunity meet many friends all traveling.
Again, it pointed in a random direction.
What over there?
Oh, that path will take you to the Royal Highway. Lots of places to go from there. Baltimore, Trottingham, Manhattan. Marvelous city, Manhattan. Bit on the crowded side, though.
With every word, the old donkey seemed to get more animated.
I much prefer the smaller settlements, like Ponyville or Cantor Creek. Lovely little town. Ever been?
Opportunity moved its camera side to side to indicate no. Cranky leaned back on the bench and sighed.
Well, let me tell you a story about it. There I was, stranger in his never-ending search, coming to this little hamlet out west. And that's how Eastwood Ravine got its name.
Cranky finished expansively. He sighed fondly at the memory.
Of course, Kevin could never show his face in the town again after that little escapade. Or at least, not that particular face.
He guffawed. When his laughter died down again, he added,
You know, if it wasn't for Matilda, I might have married that filly from the ranch. Probably be a saloon owner out west by now.
He looked around and realized that the sun was actually starting to set. The Rover had sat perfectly still through the entire story and its related tangents, only rarely interrupting to ask for clarification on something. Patting the Rover on the head with one hoof, he said,
You're a good listener, kid. Keep exploring. It's all about the journey and the stories you can tell afterwards.
Cranky?
They both turned to see another donkey coming up to them, outlined by the setting sun in a vision that caught Cranky's breath due to its sheer beauty.
Hello. Opportunity.
The Rover introduced itself politely. Matilda smiled at the Rover.
Yes, you certainly are, dear.
Turning to her husband, she said,
Did you have fun today, Cranky?
I actually reckon I did.
He replied.
I'm glad. But why don't you come home now? Dinner's ready.
Cranky nodded and got up off the bench. He lingered a moment as she led the way and winked at the Rover.
I suppose it's not just about the journey. Just about sharing your adventures with someone once you make it to your destination. You have someone like that, kid?
Oppie!
Starlight seemed slightly out of breath as she trotted into view, even though she wasn't going that fast.
Oh, there you are. I've been looking all over for you. It's time to go home.
Opportunity looked at Starlight, then back at Cranky.
Opportunity thinks so.
It said as it waved the donkey goodbye and joined up with the unicorn.
Where have you been all day? I was starting to get worried. Exploring.
Opportunity replied simply.